My name is Diane Wilson. I'm a fourth generation fisherwoman from Seadrift, Texas.
And why are you here at this conference? What have you been doing?
I lucked out and found this conference because a guy, Alan Bernard, he was with the Louisiana Injured Workers Union. He is sick, and he was one of the best in the country as far as I'm concerned. And he asked him to let me come, so I came because I've got an injured workers group down in Calhoun County. We're smack dab in the middle of the petro-chemical industry, and I am way back when I started my environmentalism. I've been doing it 20 years. I had at one point 300 workers picket me, ready to knock my lights out, and it's just real ironic that now I have the workers beating down my door trying to talk to me, and it's because there's nobody out there. There's the company does not want to hear anything. Matter of fact, you will lose your bonuses, you will get fired, it's they will let you go in a heartbeat. It's extremely vehemently non-union down there, and one particular company, we've got about 5 down there. We've got Alcoa, we got Formosa Plastics, we got BP, we got DuPont, we got Dow Chemical, Union Carbide, and Seadrift Coke, and Aeneas Nitriles. So, and it's a tiny county. We only got 20,000 people in the whole county, and I'm a fisherwoman with 5 kids in a broke down truck, and I got all the workers coming to me, and it's, and I meet them on dirt roads. They're always packing a gun. They have no one to go to. They definitely do not trust OSHA. OSHA pays them no attention. They won't call them back. They won't do an investigation. I know not too long ago we had 3 workers that were found dead floating in a barge of EDC. They have fell off of these big towers. They've been burnt because there's so much PVC dust in the air. There's a lot of contamination. There's a lot of brain cancer. And OSHA does nothing. State EPA does nothing. We talked with criminal investigators about worker exposure, and they said everything we do gets thrown out of court. So if I'm going to spend my time doing a case, I'm going after a dead worker, one like that was blew up in an explosion, and so it's like exposure. They don't care. I even had one of the supervisors. He'd been there 25 years. He was the head supervisor of a PVC unit, polyvinyl chloride. It's got vinyl chloride, direct link to liver cancer, direct link, just like benzene, and he gave the EPA the documents. I was a supervisor. I did it. I lied. It was like we had like 8 tons, so 16,000 pounds of vinyl chloride. You have 1 pound of vinyl chloride and release it, and you got to report it. There was 16,000 pounds, and the company made him lie, and they reported 2 pounds. And that's all that exposure. And EPA doesn't want to hear about it. It was like, what do you do with it? It's like the laws mean nothing, and so I'm a fisherman, and I basically, we make it up as we go, and that's why I was glad to be here.
So you wrote a book. Why don't you talk about?
I've actually written 3 books. I wrote, and I want you to know, I'm a high school education, 5 kids. I got a son who's autistic. I got a sunk boat. I got a divorce over the whole thing, and I think it's anytime I told my story, these writers would come up to me and they say, Diane, I'm going to ghostwrite this book for you. You know, in the beginning, I didn't even know what a ghostwriter was. And eventually I was told it so many times that nobody ever did it, and I was like, I'll write this book myself. I was like, why not? And so, you know, and I had a number of writers that cautioned me, Diane, you can't write a book. And I'm like, I think I can write this book. And so I did. I just sat down and just did it page by page by page. And
what's the name of the book?
It's called An Unreasonable Woman, An Unreasonable Woman. And it's a misquote from George Bernard Shaw. And he said that reasonable women adapt to the world, and an unreasonable woman makes the world adapt to them. And progress depends on unreasonable people, and that's what I advocate. I advocate being unreasonable because, you know, look what reasonableness has gotten us.
Okay, and what do you think about this conference?
I was extremely glad to be there. I was impressed with all the thinking heads around. I was delighted. There was other activist groups, injured workers groups. I've been Googling all over the internet trying to find an injured workers group, and this is the first time I found an injured workers group. And I found out I was sitting almost next door to David Michael, OSHA, and I've been trying to get a hold of that fella. So I mean, I almost grabbed that guy, but he already left before I could grab him. But I was amazed the serendipity of it. It just, and there were the people I was needing for our guys back there, and I'm delighted. It was very encouraging. It gave me a lot of contacts, and.
So they're trying to get their voices out.
Oh, anyway, and we're making it up as we go because, you know, we don't. I've been begging the unions to come down and help me because I've got all of these workers, and I've got workers in the background who are sitting in the plant just waiting to see what we're doing because they're so scared, and they want to do something, but they're scared because if they do anything where nothing comes out of it, they're risking their jobs. So
workers are terrorized.
They are very terrorized, and like Texas is the one state where you don't have to have workers' comp. It's volunteer. So many of them don't have workers' comp, and then the workers, and then they say, well, okay, well then you should be able to sue your employer. Well, the workers have to sign these agreements with the companies that you will not sue. You know, and matter of fact, one of them even gave me the copy, so I've even got it on my. People don't believe me. I'm like, well, here's a copy of it. This is what it looks like, and it's still
Catch-22.
It's catch-22, and it's very dangerous, and it's like nothing has changed, and I haven't seen any agency from where I was at in Texas, like the Texas EPA, the EPA, I'm not EPA, but OSHA down in Corpus Christi. Absolutely nothing.
How can people get in touch with you?
Believe it or not, I had someone write the Hellcat, Seadrift, Texas, and it come to me. I imagine you write Diane Wilson, Seadrift, Texas. It'll get to me. I went to Washington, D.C., and I really didn't know what I was going to do, so I went, it's very hard to get into the Senate hearings because it's so crowded, and there's so many congressmen, and there's reporters, and there's attorneys, and so they usually only allow like 5 or 10 people to get in, and so you have to stand in line a very long time, and I wanted to get into the hearing with Senator Lisa Murkowski because she was a senator from Alaska where the Exxon spill had been, and she was blocking the liability cap. Like BP is making $90 million a day, and the cap is $75 million for the whole thing. And she was blocking. Her vote blocked it, and so I decided I was going to go see Lisa Murkowski, and so I went to the hearing, and I smuggled in a half gallon of oil in my bag, except it wasn't oil, it was syrup. K-Rose syrup in my bag, and believe it or not, I went right through the scanner. You know, I went there, you know, I went right through, and I sit there and waited until this packed hearing, and I waited for like 4 hours to get in the line, and so they allowed 4 people, and I went in, sit right in the middle, and the minute she started talking, I stood up and I said, "We're sick of being dumped on in the Gulf," and I got that oil and poured it all over myself. So I got arrested for that.
Why won't they arrest the BP executives?
I know it. And then Tony Hayward, the BP CEO, was there the next week. And so I waited on him. And I waited till 10 o'clock the night before outside the building, just waiting on him. So at 7 the next morning, they let us in, and I was one of the first people allowed into the hearing where he testified. And so I sit there, I mean, it was packed. And when Tony Hayward, the CEO from BP, came in, I mean, he was like surrounded by his own people. And then the media, I bet there was 500 media. They were just, everything he did, they were clicking it. I mean, a flutter of his eyelash, and they were clicking it. And I waited till he started talking, and I had smuggled paint in my back breeches, and I just got that tube of paint and smeared it on my hand, and I smeared it on my face. And the minute he got up to speak, I stood up and started yelling at him, and I said, I showed him my hands. I said, "This is what the Gulf looks like." And I said, "You need to be arrested, Tony." I said,
"Why wasn't he arrested?"
Well, that's what I've been saying all along. And he is, as a matter of fact, he just got a was it $11 million bonus? He got a huge bonus, and they sent him off. And so I had 3 charges.
He could have his own life back.
That's right. Matter of fact, I intend to track him down. They're going to give him a Black Planet Award, and I'm going to track him down and give him that award wherever he's at. But I got 3 charges from that, and could get 2 years in jail for it. And so
That's not going to stop you.
No, absolutely, it doesn't stop me at all. It's just, I always tend to get the big picture of stuff. It's like they are destroying things, and I think it's our fear that keeps us backing down, and we're too well behaved. I think we're well behaved, and we just let them do it, and we think, they can ruin the bay and ruin a whole culture of people and all those species, and they tell us it's not nice to stand up and yell. So I don't believe it anymore.
Life is short.
Life is short. So